Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about mocks and mock exams. For those of you who don't know what mock exams are, they're like trial exams. Over here in Ireland we call them mocks. So I'm going to be giving some tips for preparing for mocks. I know this video might seem a bit early for some people, but in my school last year we done mocks at the end of January and other schools done them towards the middle of February. So I'm just gonna do this video now in case some schools do them earlier. I know we did them quite early, so it just covers everything because there's no point people watching this video once their mocks are done because it's pointless. There's a few things I can say about mocks, especially because I remember doing my mocks like it was yesterday because I stress so much over exams. So I just have a few tips that I would have done if I could go back, and they would help me out a lot more than the position I was in. First of all, I would stop telling myself that the mocks aren't important, because I know a lot of people out there are going to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, the Leaving Cert's the real thing, but mocks are actually quite important for a few different things. One of the main things they're important for is timing, because it is really difficult to go into an exam and try and get all the work done in the time they give you. Like, the time isn't there to help you really, it's there to just because it's there. And one of the main problems they have with timing is the actual English paper. I don't know if it's for both the higher level and the ordinary level, but the higher level there is quite a problem with people getting their papers done. So mocks is a really good way to practice and see can you get the paper done and what you need to work the best on. Like, for me, I stuck exactly to the timing, as in one question said exactly 35 minutes and I looked at the clock and done 35 minutes. If I wasn't finished it, I moved on, and if I had time at the end, I'd come back. And that is the way you should do it, because it at least you've attempted every section and you can get marked on every section. I wouldn't worry too much though if you don't get something done, if you do not finish a paper, because that means you know you need to work on that subject and that timing for the next three and a half months until you're leaving cert. Don't bring yourself down over it. I was actually one of the few people who finished the English mock paper in the time that was given, and it was right on the dot I finished, to be fair. I think there was only like 3 minutes in the difference that I was done. So yeah, don't stress yourself too much out because not everyone will finish it. It's not a major thing. So just remember that mocks are important to time you and to see how well you can do in that. Another thing mocks are important for is to actually see how much work you've done over the past few months, because a lot of people probably haven't started to study yet for the actual Leaving Cert. So when you have to go in and do an exam that may or may not come up on the day, you'll actually see the difference. As in, like, when you go into your mocks, you know you don't have everything covered and some courses aren't even completed. So when you go in to do the mocks, you actually realise how little work you've done. Even if you studied really hard for the mocks, you can't be completely prepared for them because some of the courses haven't even finished yet. So when you go in, you realise what your downfalls are and what you've actually done already and what you need to work harder on. Plus studying for the subjects and the stuff that hasn't been finished as well. Like, it is difficult, but it's a good kind of wake-up call to be like, okay man, I need to put my head down. Another thing I would say about mocks is that it gives you a clear example of what the Leaving Cert is going to be like. You go into a room with an examiner who is not your teacher, who is not going to help you. You're going to sit down and you're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to look at your friend for help. It is just you. It is all about you and your work and what you know, not about what anyone else knows. And it's really, like, it's scary. It's a bit like nerve-wracking when you're going in, because you're like, okay, this is it. Like, I can't open a book for help. I can't look at my friend for support because she or he could be sitting the completely other side of the hall or the back of the classroom and they're not going to be there. Like, you need to be brave for yourself. It is a lot of work, but it's worth it. Another thing is that You cannot cheat either when it comes to mocks. Like, I don't know if anyone is thinking about it. It's not worth it. And what I mean by cheating is going in with something written on your hand, if it's one word or anything, it's just not worth it. Or looking at papers that may or may not appear online because they mightn't be the real thing, because a lot of schools get a lot of different mocks. There's a few different mock companies out there, and not all schools have the same mock, so you could be studying for the complete wrong paper. It's not worth it. You're better to go in and fail it because you know nothing than to go in thinking you know what's on it on the day, because it's not going to work out. Like, it's just really not. Mocks as well isn't like the Leaving Cert, because it is important to do your mocks, and it is important to do well for your sake. Whether doing well is either going in being like, I have a target to try and get all the exams done on time, even if you don't know anything, or whether you know you need to get a C in the mocks for maths because maths is really difficult for you, or you know going into an exam situation makes you physically sick, so the fact you just go in there and attempt the paper, that is your goal. Everyone reacts differently, so you need to set yourself a goal and achieve it and be proud of yourself, because that is the main thing. Like, my parents both said to me they didn't do a Leaving Cert, so the fact that I had even accomplished like the mocks and things like that, it's an accomplishment. You've done it, you've worked hard, and that is the main thing. Another thing I will say for mocks is, once they're done, do not put the books down. Take 2 days, maybe 3, and just close the books. Do not go near them. And then when it comes to after that, slowly get back into studying again, because it is so easy. And I seen it with my year in particular. Once mocks are done, they throw the books away for 2 months, and then the month before Leaving Cert they're stressing. So don't think mocks is like a thing that once it's done you don't need to study, because you do. Like, the more important thing is just around the corner. Eat very well coming up to your mocks, and sleep as much as you can. Drink a lot of water, and don't listen to other people stressing, because people will be stressing and you don't need to hear it. Imagine the mocks like the real thing. Put in 100%, because it's the achievement you get from doing well. You'll get your results back and you'll be like, oh my god, I did really well, and you'll be really proud of yourself. And they say as well, whatever grade you get in mocks and trial exams, chances are you will go up a grade or 2 in the actual Leaving Cert. That's not true, because you could go down, because you could do really well in mocks and then just slack in that subject and then go down. So be very, very careful. Unless you're willing to maintain your grade, you possibly won't go up to a higher grade. You could go down. So take that into consideration when doing your mocks, that the mocks will not tell you what you're going to get in your Leaving Cert as much as the teachers think it will. I failed maths in my mock exam, and I was really, really upset over it, because that's probably how I thought I was going to do on the day, and then I put in so much work and I done quite well in maths. So it just goes to show that what you get in your mocks doesn't actually tell you what you're going to get, because anything could come up on the day. And just don't freak out too much over mocks, because at the end of the day they are just mock exams. It isn't the real thing, but don't tell yourself they're not important. And I know a lot of you will have orals coming up not long after the mocks, so don't let your oral work go to waste as well. Keep up with the oral work as well as the studying, because if you do a little bit in the evenings, even though mocks are coming up, you'll be really, really prepared for them. And just make yourself a study schedule. A study schedule is something I hated. I didn't like mind map schedules, anything like that. And I done it. The teachers handed us ones out and I was like, no, I done my own. I told myself what I was going to study what day, and it paid off to tell yourself. Like, you do it for yourself. And when it comes to mocks as well, if your friends are going around and they're going to flake it, like they're not going to do well because they don't care, don't do that because your friends are doing that. Sit down and do the work, and you will really thank yourself, because it'll still be in your head in 2-3 months time when the Leaving Cert comes around, and the information will still be there from mocks. You'll remember a similar question that comes up that you'll be able to answer. Just don't listen to what your friends say, because at the end of the day it's not worth it. Only you can put in the work for yourself. Another thing I will say is enjoy mocks night afterwards, have fun, don't go too wild, even though that's probably going to happen to a lot of people, but just don't go too wild. Allow yourself to have a few days of enjoyment with no books, as I said, but get back into it quickly, but not too fast. And remember, when mocks are done, the Leaving Cert is only 3-4 months away, less. It's only weeks, like, and don't let the teachers scare you about that. Just put your head down, make yourself a study schedule, and do whatever you think you can do, and you'll all fly through it. So yeah, I hope these tips helped. I wish I had these tips or someone telling me these things right before the mocks, because it was just people stressing out and it didn't really help me, and my parents didn't really know what advice to give me because they'd never been in this situation before. So just don't worry too much about it and you'll all be fine.